Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Tuesday live session. I'm excited to have you guys here, and we're going to be talking about root causes or triggers, which one to address first. So, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of food for thought today in this session. I think it's really important sometimes that we mm, kind of zoom out of our situation and really think about what are the steps I can take in order to bring my health to the next level, to move out of my symptoms and to get on a good path towards feeling normal, myself again, and just living well with Hashimoto's, feeling alive with Hashimoto's. And oftentimes we're getting stuck in descriptions or concepts that we are, hearing on social media or our doctors or from friends and family. And one of those concepts is the root cause approach. So when I was first diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I had no idea, no understanding of what that even means. Didn't even know where to start. So I had no idea where to even start. And as I was starting to familiarize myself with what Hashimoto's actually is, which is a really a an imbalance of our immune response in our bodies, then I really started to get into, okay, what is actually triggering or causing my inflammation to go through the roof in my body, which what did I do wrong, what did I miss on my on in my life that brought me into the situation. And so then once you are starting to get into that mindset and you're starting to familiarize yourself with these things and start reading books. And nowadays, it's like when I was diagnosed 15 years ago, I mean, social media was definitely not what it is today. Nowadays, everything is being discussed on social media, but you have to be very careful because there's a lot of nonsense out there as well from so-called, um, you know, specialists and people that, you know, pretend or show themselves as the expert in this area, which a lot of them are not. um, Social media oftentimes is really trying to hammer that down into us and say, you have to follow the root cause approach because otherwise you won't get to the bottom of it and you won't heal. So you might know me and you might know that I'm always I always like to question things. I mean, I don't want to be somebody who's always trying to get my point across, but I'm always open to you know other information and other perspectives on things like that, because sometimes only because everybody else is repeating the same thing, it doesn't mean that it's actually true. So today I want to kind of like talk about this. And if you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the chat. If you're here live, please let me know that you're here live. I can't see it right now, but I will definitely check the comments after this session. You're here on the replays, please comment replays. Let me just have a sip of my water. Okay, well, you might have seen that this water is actually dark green. So I'm drinking my chlorophyll water, which is actually one of the nutritional, therapeutic nutritional foods that I'm going to be talking about in my upcoming challenge. So, just before I get started, I want to ask you guys, have you seen that the banner of the group has changed? So, I changed the banner because we are going to be starting an amazing journey together. It's a free event that I'm hosting over the course of 4 full days. It's a challenge that I am offering for you guys to participate in, and it's called Hashimoto's Without Limits Challenge. the not so restrictive AIP diet. And that really ties into what I'm going to be talking about today a little bit about the non restrictive approach to Hashimoto's healing. So during this challenge, I will be delivering you 4 full-on masterclasses on nutrition, but also concepts of how to bring your body back into balance with regards to gut health, your detoxification system, your adrenal health, and your emotional health, and how they all play a role in triggering your symptoms, but also how they have a role to play as a root cause. And we will specifically talk about, I'll give you lots of ideas around therapeutic foods, functional foods you can start to use in order to specifically bring those different systems back into alignment. So I'm super, super excited for this. I know that you guys have been seeing some challenges in here before, but this one is going to be amazing. I'm going to have some giveaways. It's going to be an amazing event. So if you want to join us, please comment "I'm in this under this video, and I'll make sure to register you and get you all signed up because you will get meal plans, you will get recipes, and you will get a full-on nutrition guide as well. Okay, so let's talk about root causes versus triggers. So root causes in on its own, like the definition of root cause is really something that started your the mechanism of that initiated the inflammation in your body. So think of it as a seed that was planted and that eventually grew into that disease, right? So a lot of times people refer to the root causes as, for example, gut dysbiosis, right? So just gut dysbiosis and an imbalance in your gut health that triggered the inflammation. Another one is chronic stress leading to adrenal dysfunction or hormonal imbalances that can lead to inflammation, insulin resistance, that can be a root cause of inflammation in the body. But also, I posted in the group and I got responses such as, for example, fatty liver as a root cause or the gallbladder removed. So that would be the definition of root cause. So when we think about the definition of triggers, you would think about it as a stimulus or an event that is provoking or worsening your symptoms of an already existing condition. So it makes total sense when you think of it that way, that when you say, okay, well, my triggers are provoking my symptoms, but the initial the initial start of my Hashimoto's inflammation is rooted in something entirely different, maybe gut dysbiosis. So I'll have to go down this way and I have to try to find this root cause that has triggered my disease to manifest itself in my body, if that makes sense. And so then I think from that perspective, a lot of times people then go out and they are working maybe with functional practitioners or doctors and they're trying to find this one root cause. And I was one of them. So I was the person who said, okay, this makes total sense. If I just find my root cause that really planted this disease in my body, and if I work on it and if I reverse it, my problem will be gone and I can really go back to my normal life. Okay, so here is the caveat. As you can imagine, I have completely changed my perspective on that because of my lived experience and because of me having worked with so many women throughout the years that I have changed this approach entirely because I came to the conclusion that it's not serving us. It's not getting us the symptom relief. It is not helping our bodies to realign with health. If you are constantly just working on number one, trying to find the root cause. And number two, if you think that you have found the root cause or causes, that you're just reversing those and then everything else will fall into place. I thought so, but the body is a little bit more complex and the body doesn't work like that. So the other approach is, and I will get back to this in a minute. The other approach is that a lot of people, women, are actually starting with trigger removal, right? So they are trying to remove the triggers that is increasing or aggravating the root cause imbalance. So for example, they are removing toxins from their bodies to help decrease inflammation. They are cutting the sugar. They are going on a very restrictive diet because they are removing all of the foods that they are sensitive to and reacting to. They're removing gluten. They're removing dairy. They are removing parasites. They're going on cleanses. They are removing bacterial overgrowth and all of these things. So, those triggers that are very common for us with Hashimoto's, I would say the single most worked on or hyped up trigger out there is food, right? So food sensitivity. So food is being seen as a trigger and it's been looked at something that is harming you in certain ways, even though it's whole foods. It is sometimes labeled as inflammatory food, even though it's a whole food, such as tomato, nightshades, lectins. Well, lectins is not a food, but legumes and legumes and nuts and seeds sometimes. All of these wonderful foods are being removed as because they are currently acting as a trigger for you, right? And so here's the caveat. Here's the issue. Um, when we are doing this, like when we're just only focusing on removing triggers and not uh, at the same time working on root causes, which I'll talk about more in a second, then we are putting a band-aid on our Hashimoto's inflammation. If we are removing triggers, that can be extremely helpful. And I believe that it is a very important piece to the puzzle, but this is not where it all ends. And so here is what I have come to understand during my journey, and the way I changed my approach to really starting to live Hashimoto's without limits in terms of allowing my body to find its balance and to go back into a homeostatic place where I can live like a normal person. Um, I truly believe that both of these things need to be addressed at a specific time on your healing journey. Number one, I want to say when we are referring to root causes, so the seed that it planted it all, unfortunately, with Hashimoto's, it is not a very clear, templated approach. It just doesn't exist. Um, if you are, for example, have worked with a functional medicine practitioner or are working with one right now, I think they're amazing people, but oftentimes I find that there is a lot of templates that are being used now in terms of treatments and in terms of approaches when it comes to Hashimoto's, to cut out the nightshades, to cut out the gluten, to cut out the legumes, to increase the protein, to decrease the carbohydrates, to go on a low carb diet. Like there's all of these things that are just being used as a standard approach. In my opinion, that is really not serving us, because the root causes, you will have to understand, and I've come to understand that root causes are multiple on your journey. Not everybody with gut dysbiosis is, developing or going into an autoimmune response. Not everybody with gallbladder removal, goes into an inflammatory response with Hashimoto's. Not everybody with insulin resistance will get Hashimoto's, and so on and so forth. However, a lot of women with Hashimoto's are having these root causes that over the course of the time came together and created certain types of imbalances in your body, on different levels. It started maybe with gut dysbiosis, that your gut was out of balance because maybe you had food poisoning, maybe you had a parasite, maybe your diet wasn't great, maybe you had bloating, maybe you had constipation from a young age on. So now your body's experiencing all of these root causes, and then what happens is that if they're not being resolved, like if you're not getting rid of the parasites, if you're not getting rid of your gut dysbiosis, if you're not learning how to poop every day, then the root causes will turn into triggers, right? Because the not pooping on its own that initially started that imbalance of your gut is now starting to become a trigger that is constantly kicking the inflammation in your body one notch up, because you can't eliminate your waste on a daily basis properly. See what I mean? So it's like it certain things start to overlap when it comes to root cause and triggers, and it gets blurry, and we lose, almost like the grip on the distinct labeling of these two things, and we get confused and frustrated and don't know where to start. And that is why I say there's different root causes for different people. And sometimes it's very difficult to go back all of these years and try to really decipher which of those root causes, came together, and then in the end, it exploded into a whole inflammatory response in your body. Because I can tell you that it's never just one root cause that does it. There's a lot of root causes. But what I can tell you is that what I've seen over and over and over again, which was the same thing for me, which is the same thing for every single client I have worked with, is that there is body systems in our bodies that are not working not optimal. As to why that is, those root causes can differ. So the the areas in your body that are related to root causes are your gut health, number one, your detoxification pathways, number two. That includes liver, that includes kidneys, that includes lymphatic system, that includes digestion and waste removal, all of these things. Number three is adrenal response. That can include chronic stress, that can include hormonal imbalances, that can include cortisol response, blood sugar dysregulation. And the fourth one is your emotional health, right? The way we think about ourselves, the way we think about our health, the way we believe, um, this dis-ease or imbalance will lead to further issues down the road in our lives, and we're starting to become frightful and feel cause a lot of internal stress and as disease as well. So those four areas, I will say, body systems, everybody with Hashimoto's has in common. Now, which specific root cause that might have triggered it is different for everybody. And yes, if you have somebody who can, okay, so at this moment in time, I always also want to say just another one more thing that I really wanted to bring across here. My point is that when you're starting your healing journey in this moment in time, you have to start to peel back the layers of the mini root causes that is triggering your inflammation. So, if you know that gut health, gut dysbiosis is one of them, it doesn't matter if maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you had a parasite or you had food poisoning. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do about it now is trying to figure out what is triggering your dysbiosis right now and what are the steps I have to take in order to bring my gut back into balance. And here is where the triggers come in removing so that you can then get to the first mini root cause, your gut health issues that you can right now in this moment in time work on and rebalance. If that means, for example, I say you have lots of bloating and you have lots of gas, lots of digestive issues, and you just really want to figure out what it is, and you go see your doctor and you do maybe a stool test and you do find maybe bacterial overgrowth. There's a dysbiosis imbalance of your gut. What are you going to do, right? You are trying to bring that back into balance. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that by removing the triggers that are causing you symptoms right now temporarily. Okay. So that means food, that means sugar, that means toxins, all of these things. That's going to be part of your journey because you want to you want to really relieve your body, your system of having to deal with those triggers, make it easier for your body to heal, right? So, yes, you do want to remove triggers, but at the same time, you really want to also very much focus on rebuilding, restoring, and rejuvenating gut health. Because I see a lot of women are getting stuck in this area of removal, thinking that this will clear things up and this will help your gut and then everything is okay. But that's not the way it works, right? The way it works is that you need to alleviate your body with those triggers, remove them, but then at the same time, bring in those therapeutic foods, bring in maybe some supplements that can help you realign your gut health. Like bring in a different thought patterns that can help you to reduce stress in your body, all of these things. So, that is my approach. And that goes for all four of those areas that I just mentioned to you. So same thing goes for detoxification. Yes, you do. If you do have parasites, you want to remove the parasites if you that are causing you issues. If you have SIBO, yes, you want to make sure that you maybe get on an herbal protocol that can help you get rid of the SIBO. But then also, detoxification means not just removing all of that is causing you toxic overload, but bringing in all the stuff that helps you get to the bottom of it, to the foundation that helps your body to learn how to detox properly, that helps your body to realign those detoxification pathways, which is number one. Also, first one is bowel movements, right? So that's the first thing. You want to make sure that you can go to the bathroom on a daily basis. You want to make sure that your body's able to sweat. You want to make sure that you get rid of your fatty liver because that is one of the major things that can really hinder your detoxification from a liver perspective. So, see all of these things come together, and you want to create that foundation so that your body, once you are starting to feel better and once you're removing the triggers and the root causes, can actually start to heal up, so that you then can continue on that journey that way, that you can improve, that you can continue to help your body to become more resilient, more and more. Okay, So, my battery is almost um, dead. So sorry, that's a really abrupt stop here. But I hope this makes sense, everybody. And if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that gives you food for thought. And by the way, in our challenge, this is exactly what we're going to be diving deep into, those body systems and how you can start realigning them with nutrition and food to help create that really strong foundation. All right. Okay, everybody. So have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you again very soon.